everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today we are jumping back on our 1986 Bertone X19, and today we are attacking our air conditioning system. Now I've already taken out the old AC compressor because I had a strong suspicion that it wasn't working. I tried to just fill up the system with some new R134A Freon, and it was way over pressurized, and the good news is it held vacuum because as soon as I went to try and remove that over pressurized system, it was still holding behind the Schrader valve. So I know the system is sealed, which is a good peace of mind, but I just think our compressor, after 40 years, decided just not to work anymore. So I did order a new one. Got a new AC compressor right here. There are some minor changes I had to do to this one. The pulley, when I bought it, was not the right kind. It was like the serpentine 7 rib kind of belt, not just our regular V belt that we use here. So I was able to take the pulley off of our old one, and it was a perfect match to this one. I'll make sure to put a part number and link down in the description for this, but you'll need your old one to replace the pulley on there, because the one that comes on it is not correct, but everything else is identical. The fittings, the diameter of the pulley, everything is exactly the same, so I'll make sure to put a link down in the description. But our goal now is to reverse the process of taking this thing out. We're gonna just put it back in. And so unfortunately, you kind of have to lift this side, remove the wheel, gives you more access to go up through the bottom. There's a couple brackets and we're gonna get into that, but again, to switch over the pulley on this, good to go, perfect fit. I was even able to bench test it. So we grounded the one side and then gave power to the other, and the magnet held on to it and it turned the compressor completely. So we know we are a good fit there. So first things first is we're gonna have to move Elsa the bus out of the way, back her up a little bit, clean up some of the stuff on the bottom. I did have to remove the water pump belt to get the old compressor out, and I'll show you guys all that. But we're gonna move Elsa out of the way, get some of these oil pans out of the way, some of these loose pieces here and there, so we have some room to move. But we're gonna bust off this wheel on the passenger rear side, and we have a little bit more room to move to start putting this on the inside and see if we can get our AC system to work for the very first time in, well, who knows how long, at least 7, 8, 10 years? I don't know. We're gonna get it to work. Hey guys, we're gonna take a quick pause and talk about today's video sponsor, Vintage Car LEDs. Are you nervous to drive your classic at night just because your headlights just aren't quite bright enough? Head over to VintageCarLEDs.com and check out their wide variety of headlights that fit in our old classics. You can check out their different products, their apparel. You can even compare the models, contact them with questions, but more importantly, what will fit. If you go here to the middle of the screen, every make and model you could possibly imagine, even for our Fiat is on here. We'll go down to a Volkswagen, which is what we've got. We'll go to all these options. We're going to go down to the transport. We're going to hit search. And here you go. All the headlights that'll fit our make and model are here. Different sizes, bulb brightness, all give you variety and options to drive safely at night. Now here's the good part, is I've got a coupon code for you. You save 10% with the keyword GarageTimeTV at checkout off your entire purchase. Again, use the coupon code GarageTimeTV at your checkout for 10% off your entire purchase. So let's get back to the video. Again, we've got our compressor here, but the other thing is we've got these brackets, and so it's pretty difficult to get the compressor up through all of this and into that gap there. You can see where that bracket's hanging down in the holes. It's tough to get that with the brackets in there because of this body panel here, and the suspension is kind of in the way. I mean, we could possibly drop the 3 10mm nuts that are on the top of our coilovers, and that would drop it down some more, give us a little bit more room. But what we may do is feed this up there, and then the brackets, trying to wiggle it all together. But I think we may go the coilover route, those 3 10mm bolts, let this kind of drop down, put a jack stand underneath it or something to kind of help hold it up so don't stress out our brake line, and then we should be able to possibly feed it through there with the bracket. But these are our front and rear brackets. The one with this little cover is supposed to do the back like that. It's supposed to be like a protective metal thing here, or a kind of like a Bakelite kind of thing. It just fell apart, of course, so we might make a new one out of metal and then wrap it some heat shield type tape. And then this one goes in the front with our adjuster on the bottom. We have this adjuster support, this here, so it kind of doubles up in there, kind of goes like that. This is all the way up against it, of course, and then that's what attaches to that bracket that's hanging down there. So there's a lot of moving parts, but I think we'll drop the coilovers, those 3 10mm, bring them down, and see if we can put it in as one piece and save ourselves some time. Because then those long bolts go through those holes. These here, there's one on the bottom, and there's one up a little higher as well. And it's tough to get the 4 small bolts into these holes that line up here. So it's tough to do in the car just because there's no room whatsoever. So I think we'll try and see if we can get this in there first, and then see if we can just run the brackets through and drop this. We've got the compressor in. We were able to do it with the brackets, just dropping those 10s down. Brought this. I did put the jack underneath it to support it. We don't have tension on our brake line there, but we were able to fit it in there. The key is to leave everything a little loose as you attach it. And this bracket that's here on the bottom, yours may have it, maybe not, but is to have this off completely. There's 2 17mm bolts up there and a 13, and you want to make sure that those are all completely out and out of your way, that way you're not fighting it. But again, leave it all loose, line everything up. I put the first bolt in on the bottom through the front, get that all lined up, and then I was able just to pivot it up to line up the second one. But you're going to want to put the bolt in from this side on the top one, because you won't have enough room because of this body panel here. So you want to make sure you do it from this side, one from this side. You could do them both from the same side, but I just found it easier to get that initial bolt started to hold everything in line and then flip it up. We did those 2 17mm bolts, the 13, and then fed this one through in the adjuster. This is just some bracing, makes it a little bit more sturdy and stout on there. We do have a ground wire here with some resistor in it for some reason on this one, so I'm not sure about that. And then we've got our main power wire here, which we're going to have to put a, holy dust, a new connection on, but shouldn't be a big deal. But everything is still a little loose on there, and it is all connected all the way up. You can see them on the bolts there, all tightened down. We have not tightened these yet because we still need to get the belt on. We're going to have to put the AC compressor belt on first because it goes on the back, and then the water pump is on the front. So that's why our water pump one is off. So we're going to put our AC belt on here, then we can adjust the tension and lock it down on the bottom there, and then our water pump, and then we can start working on the electrical. We have made some progress. A little bit of time has passed, but we have got both of our fittings facing the right way. Our belt is also on. It is a snug fit, but I'll show you that here in a second. But it's all installed. We still have to do our wiring. But when we go underneath here, I reattached our upper coilover connection as well. When you come down here, you can see we've got the belts that are attached, water pump and AC compressor. But when you can turn them, you can still turn them, 90 degrees, and means there's some slack in them. So they're not super tight, but they're not loose either. We're not going to get a good connection. And you can see we're a little bit close on the innermost part of our adjustment here. So we could do just a little bit and then tighten it down, but I'm actually pretty happy with that. And if we have to, we can always come back and adjust that again. But all of this is reattached. The belts are on, nice and snug. So the next thing is going to be going up here to our electrical. Now I'm not going to mess with this quite yet because it grounds to the body of the compressor, but the compressor also grounds to the block, which of course grounds to the car, which grounds to the battery. So I don't think we're going to need this additional ground wire. Maybe we will. And I just need to make a new connector here. I think the original one disappeared off somewhere. I think I just need to put a female spade connector on here because the other one is in here, which I think is, yeah, that's a male connector. So I just need to trim this and put a female connector, then we can put it up in there. And then we can screw on our connectors here. We've got our high, which sits on the bottom, and our low, which is going to sit here on the top. I've got them wrapped in some heat resistant tape. I've also got a heat shield down here. That's what this is. And this is also wrapped in heat shield tape. Now you see the compressor is a little close to our headers. The little bracket that was with the kit was just not deep enough. These brackets weren't quite long enough, so it wasn't making that good connection. You can see if we had them on there, it would not clear the back of it. So it really wasn't doing as much of a favor anyway. I do have a little bit of extra of this, so I may drape that over the back just to give it a little bit of protection, because it is, again, a little hot. Could get a little hot being that close to our headers. So let's screw these on, get these out of our way. These are 1 1/8. That's what I use for these, 1 1/8. Super big crescent wrench there, big wrench to screw that on. And then we'll work on this connector. And then we can see if we can throw it some R134 in there. I have these adapters on there from the R12 to the R134. Got these off of Amazon. I think there's like 10 bucks for the pair. Comes with a Schrader valve and the caps. Lots of good stuff. And I've got a little gauge here as well. So lots of good stuff coming. We're gonna clip this connector, do all that work, and then see if we can start filling it up and seeing if it's engaging before we really put any fluid in it either. We'll make sure it's engaging when we hit it. So almost there. We've got our low and high side AC connections attached. Still a little close to the exhaust. Now you can get custom made AC lines, and what I would highly recommend is doing that. Just do like here and then a 90 and run along this side. The low is probably, or the high side's probably okay, but the low side definitely needs a 90-degree bend in it, because that is a little too close. So I might make another aluminum shield to kind of continue up and around to really give that the best chance of working as best as it can. But for the meantime, I put that female spade connector in, so that is attached, and then I've got just a gauge in here off of an old Freon can, and it'll just kind of tell us what's in here. So it says there's nothing in the system. We'll double check that, make sure we can open the Schrader here. Yeah, nothing in there. So we'll fire it up, make sure that there is nothing in here, because last time when we attached this, it instantly went red with nothing in the system, so it was over pressurizing. So we're gonna get you guys set up, we're gonna fire it up and see if this needle moves any, and if not, then we can start filling it with Freon and then seeing if that AC will work. All right, we're gonna look right here. Looks good, we're not adding any pressure. Let's turn on the AC. All right, AC is running. But of course there's no Freon in the system, so there's nothing happening. But on the old one, it would build pressure with nothing in the system, so it's a really good sign. So I'm gonna shut it off and then see if we can start adding some Freon to it. All right, let's see if we can get this compressor to kick on. Ah, there we go, it kicks on. All right, let's go feel it. You can see it spinning, so it's on. It's hard to tell because it's cool out, but we're gonna keep going. Almost a whole can. Well, it's holding pressure. Let's see what our gauge tells us. Perfect, it's right in the blue. Right above 25. Says it's filled. I think it's actually working. I'm gonna have to get my thermometer, my laser thermal gun, and see if it's actually going, but it says they're right in the middle of filled. So one can, a 12-ounce can, basically filled it up. Let's grab our thermometer and see if what the temperature is. Wow, it's actually blowing cold. I know this is gonna be windy and stuff, but '61, 60 degree, 59, 58, It's just getting colder the more we're letting it run. And this is all factory equipment. All I replaced was a compressor. Look at that, 54. That is cold. 53. Man, getting colder and colder. That is fantastic. Look at that, 48 degrees. Holy moly. There's no way this is real. 47. Wow. All right, we're gonna come back in a few minutes, let this kind of really keep circulating and see how low we can really get it. So now it's been running for a little bit. We got it down to 42 degrees. That's colder than most modern cars, and this is all old system equipment. But one thing I want to test next is we can see the front of the compressor is spinning. When we shut it off, the AC that is, that should stop spinning. We hear our RPMs go up a little bit. Perfect, and the front of that compressor stopped spinning, so our AC is off. Super, super nice. We know it all works. Man, that is fantastic. And having AC, oh, so good. Gosh, that's so good.
Oh God, it's so good. So good.
Look at that, dropping so quickly. That's awesome, absolutely awesome. Well, that one 12-ounce can seemed to be just enough for us to get our AC system back up and running. And we also didn't really have to do a whole lot with that ground wire that's on there that has a weird resistor in it. So I think we're just gonna clip that back, just get it out of the way. Maybe we can ground it just to give it some extra, but again, it's grounded straight to the block, so I don't think it's going to need much more than that. But typical in Fiat fashion, it's probably going to need extra grounds because they never hurt. But I think that's going to be the end of this episode. This is actually relatively quick, just a lot of part replacement. We took out the old one, and we took that pulley off that old one, put it on the new one, and swapped it out to fit our application. It was a perfect match. We just put it all back in. The trick is to drop down the coilovers, those 10mm nuts on the top to get you just a little bit more room, and you can get up in there and replace that AC compressor. I was just very fortunate to have one where I could swap out the pulley. I was not really able to find one online that had the right pulley with the right part number, so that's going to be kind of the trick, is if you can find one that's not working and just swap it out. It's a pretty simple process. You just unbolt the face of one and put the new one on. So I'm just really glad that it worked. I was worried about the clearance of that magnet. As soon as it receives that electrical signal, it engages the magnet, and I wanted to make sure that that would fully spin the compressor, and it obviously did. So I'm very, very happy with that. Getting it down to 42 degrees. That is super, super cold AC. Granted, it is a little bit cooler day today, so that could be helping be a contributing factor. So we'll have to see on a hot day to see what it really comes down to. But even if it was 90 degrees outside and I brought it down to 70, I mean, that's still way better than nothing at all. So I'm super excited about that. But that means we can actually start buttoning up the back side of this. Since everything is locked down, I can actually put that back panel on there and seal it up for good. I can actually bolt that in, so I'll probably knock that out. And one like $15 can is all it took, so I'm super happy with that. Not too bad of a job, did it in just a couple hours. You know, there's a lot of stuff you didn't see on camera as far as like finagling it up in there, but again, that's not super interesting to watch. But I'm just super glad that it works, and we can actually ride comfortably. And this is the first car I've done that actually has air conditioning, which is weird to say because none of them ever have AC. So I'm just glad it works. But I think that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing really, really helps the channel, so please make sure you do that. Only 25% of the people that watch this channel are subscribed, so please make sure you do that. Hit the notification bell. It really helps support us so we can keep working on cars like these and bringing you free content here on YouTube. Also, make sure you're checking out our links down in the description. I've got the parts that we used down in the description, also our merchandise website. All sorts of good promo codes that you can use for different things for your car, so make sure you check those out before you leave today. And with that, and that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much, and until next time, we'll see you.